Om Namah Shivaya. Everybody, how are you? Nice to see you. So today is another question and answer session. So we would ask Swami Dhammanandaji to give the answer, the question. You give the question and I give the answer. Okay, you go ahead.
Swamiji. Okay, question number one. What can an ordinary person do when their spiritual growth is more than their partner or their family that they live with? Is it one's duty or even possible to help another person on their spiritual progress? If yes, how does one go about it?
Yeah. Well, this is normal, no? This is a situation that happens all the time. That you live with people and you have to help them. When you help somebody in any way, you're helping their spiritual progress. You need to understand. But when you help them physically, you help them concretely in their life, you remove their physical, mental obstacles in their life, you listen to them, you support them emotionally. All these are helping spiritually. So, you know, you don't have to be a guru to help somebody spiritually. You just have to share and be sincere and have the intention to help. Of course, it is your duty because the person is connecting with you. Yeah. And when they connect with you, then you have the duty to help. You want to help the whole world, so you need to help the people with you. But you have to understand what it means help. You cannot expect to make people change. Because oftentimes that's what you think. Being helpful means makes a person change to your own criteria. But people don't change easily. They change, but they don't change easily. Because it's very slow to change. So part of the duty is to be patient. And to accept. Then people do change. And through the up and downs, you know, sometimes they have to make a lot of mistakes, go through the suffering, and then eventually they change. How do you want to go about it? How do you go about it to help some people? People that live with you, that you know them. I would say if you can follow these 9 modes of bhakti that I have put in the book recently, the Selfless Love book, I hope that you have, then that is also very helpful. So the first one is listening. You have to learn to listen to somebody. Just be there and listen to them. And then you have to remember God in them. You have to, you know, serve them. You have to sacrifice for them. You have to give them. You have to, and eventually unconditional acceptance. So that's in general, like you said. The question says, if an ordinary person have to live with somebody, the partner I live with, and the person found him or herself more advanced spiritually than the partner, then how do they do? So that's a question. I'll answer to that question. So I'm not answering to the question, if you are a spiritual teacher or a person, what should we do? See? You are not the spiritual teacher of a partner. You are a friend. You have a relationship of love and mutual support. So then that's why you need to apply this 9 modes of bhakti. I mean, how to open your heart, how to understand somebody, how to support them unconditionally, so that at the same time you are progressing with that relationship, and at the same time you help a person. Okay? Because if a person is have the heart open more, they also grow spiritually. Because all our problems come from not having the heart open. They have the ego being rigid. So if you can open the heart to somebody, and you know, so they also open their heart, and then it helps them. And if you see, depends on the relationship, if you can gently tell the person, you know, what's right, what's wrong, because of the trust that you have established, and usually it helps. The person will be influenced by your own nice advice when you are in a good trusting relationship. So mutually you influence and helping each other. But remember, you are not the spiritual teacher of that person. That you don't know, really. You know, you have a friendship relationship, a partnership relationship. So don't try to be a guru. That's what I'm saying. Don't try to say to the person what to do and then expect the person has to listen to you. You are friend, is different relationship. Yeah, if you are the spiritual teacher, it's a different relationship. You're not a friend. You not necessarily have to listen. It's a different rapport. Okay? Is it okay, Swamiji?
Yes, Swamiji, sounds great. Thank you.
Okay.
Question number 2. What to do when you have learned that you have been singled out and treated differently than others in an unjust way? And the person is asking, should I proceed legally or peacefully, and paid for the financial injustices, hoping these people and myself tune into what the bigger lesson is?
Okay, Swami Ramananda, can you type in the chat the name of the Selfless Love book and also way how people can order, please?
Okay, we're typing now, Swamiji.
Okay. So the question is what to do when you have learned that indeed you have been singled out and treated differently than others. Should you proceed legally and peacefully, paid for the financial injustice, hoping these people and myself tune into what the bigger lesson is. So, so this question point out to the question of karma, because when you say single out and treated differently. So this shows me that this is a karma question. That means it's a very specific. Okay. So the question is, the person is thinking that he or she should proceed legally or peacefully pay for the financial injustice, hoping that he or she and the people that she feels creating some kind of harm to her will tune in into a bigger lesson. And that means yes, the question is yes, there is no other choice. Problem comes only when people somehow are suffering from spiritual ignorance, and it takes time for people to mature. So that's correct. I answer very shortly, is to accept whatever you do the best you can, legally, financially, whatever. Yeah. But to accept the situation and to be open to learn bigger lesson. The answer is yes. Now, how you do the best you can in the situation, knowing it's a somewhat it's a karma, and you have to learn. Sometimes you have to suffer from. Sometimes you have to accept. You know, being accept. How you say that? Accept. Accept to lose, because you cannot win from the situation. You feel that you are entitled to do this and that and win, but then the situation makes you have to accept to lose, accept not to win. Okay? And you can attribute that to the whatever the karma. So you ask me these questions. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm a yogi, and I answer you. I only can answer you spiritually. Okay, so don't expect me to answer you legally, financially, worldly. I answer you spiritually. So I answer you with the question of karma. Yeah, that is that you don't know the origin. It comes now because there is a reason. That's a law of karma. There's a reason from before. Now you say it's unfair, but you don't know what is the reason from before, why that unfair thing happened to you now. So the karmic answer is you would have to accept the karma, even though you feel that it's not fair, but you have to accept the karma and try to be as positive as possible, and try to have this understanding that it must have a reason somewhere that you do not know. Because if you understand the reason, then there is no such situation that can happen. But situation happen always because of a mysterious, distant past that you do not know, and you receive the consequence now, and you feel that it's unfair, but you have to accept, because it's not you accept the situation injustice, but you accept your karma. You accept that something has happened that created this, and then you accept the feeling of discomfort, the feeling of pain. Yeah. even the feeling of unfairness, but without reaction. That's called acceptance. I mean, you, without reaction, you say, I don't know why this thing is, I don't expect, and it's beyond me. Why this happened? Yeah. And then most of the time, that's why it is. You react because you don't accept. You don't understand. Yeah. But that's how karma works. And then sometimes you have to accept these injuries and, you know, losing financially, and, you know, how much pain that you have to go through, and, you know, how much you say that is unfair, and you're angry, all these things. But then you have to go through it, and then from being angry, you become less angry. From not accepting, you become accepting. And then you eventually, maybe one day, you turn within and you understand, yes, I understand. That's the reason why. Has nothing to do with what I expect. Yeah. But it's a test of heaven, because if I don't receive the test, then I don't know really if I progress or not. You know? So at one point, you know, we went through that situation at the yoga farm, and it feels so unfair, you know, that that whatever we stand for is being questioned. And you know, so you have this situation where people, neighbor, send dust to the yoga farm, pollution our water stream, scream to us and insult the yoga class every day, and tell to all the neighbor that how the yoga farm are molesting children, and who knows, all these accusations. That is incredible. Yeah, so I went through that myself. I went through that situation, a very, very difficult situation, when you say that it's not fair. Yeah. And then I went to the court of law, and then whatever the lawyer, because I'm wise enough to know this question of karma. So whatever the lawyer says, sue them. I cannot do that. So I went to the lawyer, but I don't do anything. I went to other teachers, and whatever they say, I don't do anything. And this happened just after we planned the peace pole at the labyrinth, where we put our intention that we would live for peace, and we would fight for peace, and the unpeace happened to our home and to the neighborhood. So then I learned, you know, I learned that it is something beyond me, but this is a test, right? So I went to buy a big picture of Gandhi, Gandhiji, who stands for non-violence, and I hang in my meditation room. I look every day so that I try to keep myself non-violent, not having even the thought of, no, that's not fair, you are crazy, even though they are a little bit crazy, you know. But I try to refrain from thinking. And some situation is extremely difficult, yeah, and to tell the story how unfair it is, you know, at the end, and then they say, okay, because of you guys, that my wife is having cancer, and I'm suicidal, all because of you. They try to make us feel guilty, and I feel a little guilty when I hear that, you know. But then you know, and then I pray. Then I pray that nobody comes out of this winning or losing, that we all will come out somehow learning our lesson. But I don't know if they learn or not, but, you know, but they should not be losing and we are winning. Okay? Because that situation, being a winner out of a conflict, yeah, is not the correct way how to solve a karmic situation. So then it ends nicely, miraculously, Yeah. So they are able to sell the land for the price they want and move out, which is something incredible. And then everything come back to peace. The dust settle, the water, the pond become clearer, and then all the bad name that has stirred up the whole neighborhood, you know, somehow calm down, and some good thing come out of that. But what I'm saying is, we don't expect such a thing, okay? So we would have to live with it. And sometimes it's extremely difficult to deal with a situation like that. And I know it comes from the peace pole that I want to plant it. I want to plant the peace pole, you know, intention to have peace, and then unpeace come, and then that's a test. How do I deal with this? Yeah. It was for a while, I have difficulty to chant the song, love thy neighbor as thyself. See? But then it eventually it's a big lesson I can learn, and then it works itself out. So, okay, to answer your question, okay, be wise, accept the karma, and try to continue to do your spiritual practices so you can have some kind of other perspective about the situation, and for sure, 100% sure that you will learn a very valuable lesson, and you don't want to create new complication, new karma, you know. Okay, so that's my spiritual answer. Sorry, it's a spiritual answer. It's not other kind of answer. It's okay?
Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you. Next question is another question about karma. Please help me understand Prarabdha karma and its effect on Sanchita karma, and how we can liberate from future karma.
Yeah. Prarabdha karma is the karma that you reap in this life. Sanchita karma is the karma that you accumulated from past. Liberate from future karma means not creating new karma while you are solving the present karma. Then your reaction need to be in such a way that you don't create new karma. So in the example that I gave, it's like this. It's a Prarabdha karma somehow of Swami Sita, who is a leader of a group and then a director of the ashram. Yeah. My Prarabdha karma is to lead the group and teach yoga in the most peaceful manner as possible, as beautiful as possible. But the Prarabdha karma is that there will be some situation that come and stir up that peace, and I would have to confront the situation, yeah, in the most dharmic way. Sanchita karma is the accumulation from something in the past. So that means in the past, as a leader of a group, yeah, I must have acted somehow not wisely and creating some injustice to some people. So now the Prarabdha karma in this life, we are very peaceful, but then some neighbor come and create trouble. Yes, so I have to learn the lesson from it and not create trouble back. Yeah, so that I don't create new future karma. That situation lasted for 2 years, more than 2 years, 2 years and a half, including the time that I decided that maybe it's my karma that create the karma to the yoga farm, and I would need to get out of the way so I don't create the karma to the yoga farm. And I decided to go to the Himalaya, stay in the cave, and say goodbye to everybody so that I can extirpate myself out of the karma of the yoga farm so it doesn't create problem to the yoga farm. But it didn't solve the problem. I had a good time in meditating alone. Yeah, so I realized that it's not correct. Yeah, it was not me that created the karma, even though it is the karma that belongs somehow to me. So when I come back from that trip to the yoga farm, then yoga farm is in more danger. Yeah, that we would lose the land and we close the ashram. It's a very serious. So then I know also it's my Prarabdha karma that is have to keep continuing helping the yoga farm. I had a very wonderful time alone, but that's not it. It's my karma to do my job. So I have to come and then, you know, turn my, how do you say that? Turn my sleeves and then fight. In the sense that we will have to do what is necessary. So then all these wrong accusation and so on, you know, be rectified. And it did turn out okay. To work in your karma, what book? You can get the book on karma yoga, the practice of karma yoga of Swami Sivananda. But the question of karma, you have to think. Yeah, you need some wisdom to think. It's not necessary the book can explain everything. But very much so, you understand the concept of past karma, present karma, future karma. The past karma, you cannot do anything about it, it's already done. And the result, it will come out in this life or future life. Prarabdha karma is something in the current, and you can do something about it. But you do something in the Prarabdha karma in response to something that is already happening in the past. So to some level, you have some kind of way how you can change it, but some level you cannot change it because it already happened in the past and the consequence of it happened in the present. So you cannot really change it. Okay? So you can change your attitude about it. Yeah, and you can pray and you can do the best you can. Yeah, but you cannot necessarily change everything. You have to suffer through it, but you have to accept to suffer through it. That's also the good way how to work out karma. Okay. And there is a called collective karma. I mean, not necessarily something that you have done yourself, but you are in that situation, there is a collective karma. Yeah. Like right now, yeah, the situation of war or something can happen. Yeah. So then people that are in a situation, in a countries in conflict, yeah, so they would have to share into the consequence of the collective karma. And we all somehow suffer from it. But then also it comes from some other reason that the humanity would have to learn again, you know, how to behave with each other, how to love, we said, yeah, and how to be wise. So we don't continuously, you know, fight with each other because of boundaries and borders and, you know, who is stronger and who is a winner and who I can abuse and the whole politics, international politics. but also community politics, but also in a individual level also, you know, we always go through this all the time. So we have to learn all the time, every day, to respect, to love, to give, to superly respect, you know. So they say pay it forward, pay it forward, pay the karmic debts forward. That means you don't have to wait until something happens in order for you to react or accept, but you would have to very actively, you know, live a very positive, super positive life, super giving life, super self-sacrificing life, in order for you to pay all the past karmic debts that you must have accumulated since a very long time, and you have no clue. So pay it forward. That's my motto. Because the more that you be able to do tapas, tapas is a way how you pay up karmic debt. You do tapas means austerity, you deny yourself some comfort, you do a lot of spiritual practices. It's a way to pay it forward. That means you have no clue how much you have done wrong in the past. I think Lord Buddha tell all his past karma story, how he was a criminal before, how this, that. You know, this is Lord Buddha. If he, why not me? You have done plenty of wrong things. So there is not necessary to justify yourself, to say that you are good and you are saint and you are not doing this and that. No, you have done plenty. So it's not good in the rule of thumb is to justify yourself. Rule of thumb, do not justify yourself. When something happens, accept it with humility. Must be something happened in the past, must be something that I'm not aware of in my subconscious mind. I accept. Yeah. And pay it forward. I mean, I accept, even though might not feel fair to me, but accept it. You are not going to lose anything. Yeah. And then do the best you can and give it, we call give the result to God. That means you don't know. Okay, you do it because you want to save yourself. Yeah, you don't wait until the person do it, because you know, you will amend only if the person amend. No, you amend yourself because you don't know. Swamiji say, I learned that from Swami Vishnudevanji. He said, there is no right and wrong. The truth is in between both. That means, yeah, you think that you are right and the other person is wrong, and the person think the opposite, and that is never going to end. Yeah, the truth is in between both. That means you have no idea why it can be so unfair, but that's the way how it is. Yeah, it's the karma that might come from even somebody else. Yeah, the karma of the time. And you would have to accept. It's tough, huh? It's difficult. Yeah, but it depends on you if you really want to get out of the karma or not. That's why I said to you again that I only can give you a spiritual question, spiritual answer. Yeah, there's not necessary. It's not necessary the correct answer in the situation, but spiritually it's correct. Legally, it might not correct. You know, fairly, you know, it might not be correct. Yeah. You might have suffered, and you might want to have justice, but there is no justice there. Yeah, because the truth is in between both. You have your fair share. You have your fair share. of suffering. Everyone have their fair share of suffering. You want the other person to suffer and you don't have to suffer. That doesn't exist. Yeah. In the karmic world, it doesn't exist. You suffer, the other person suffer, all of us suffer because of ignorance that might come from you, if it come from them, if it come from wherever it is, doesn't matter. You would have to accept your suffering and become positive out of it. That's the only way out. Yeah. So that's why I apologize a few times that I only can give a spiritual question, a spiritual answer, because it seems not fair. Yeah. Like you, let's say you suffer because you're traumatized and you want the other person to pay for it, is it not? But the answer is in karma world, you know, is instead of saying, why this happened to me and I become a victim, instead of asking that question, then ask, why, if everything is perfect, why this person has to go through this situation? Obviously, if God is loving, if everything is fair in the bigger picture, then I must have been in that situation because I have the opportunity to learn my lesson. And then you say, oh, I already learned, I was a good person. No, sorry, you're a good person, but there is more things for you to learn. See? So, even somebody tried to kill Swami Sivananda, and he said that. Think about this. He said that. He said the evil thing happened in order to glorify the good thing. The negative guy happened, negative thing happened in order for you to see the good thing. Okay? And he stand in a position that good thing or bad thing is relative. Okay? So we don't understand that, so we want to be on the side of the good thing and to condemn the bad thing. And that's why the whole world, as Swami Sivananda say, I don't know, Swami Sivananda say, or somebody say, or Gandhi say, yeah, tit for tit and tat for tat make the world blind. Yeah. I mean, I point the finger to you, then you point the finger to me. So both of us are blind. So spiritually, what do? You would have to see all this and contemplate all this. What is fairness? What is the right thing? And we have to accept the karma. And then when we accept the karma, we receive plenty of criticism. Yeah, because why we accept, you know, we fight, then also plenty of criticism. We accept plenty of criticism. So we have to accept that there is no fairness to anything, no right and no wrong. Just you and you and you and you. You have to deal with your life. Hare Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, Swamiji. Do you have time for another question?
Yeah. What time now? I don't know. You deal with it. I don't know the time, so
Okay.
just ask.
I think we're good. Okay. Next question. How does the fear of death manifest in our everyday behavior, and how can we overcome this fear of death and know peace?
My answer is a fear of death is a constant in our life, disguised under the form of all our worries and anxieties. Our existential anxiety, that means that we are born, we are spirit, we are total spirit, perfect and free. And we identify with our body that is limited, a mind that is limited. So therefore, there is underlying fear of losing this personality, losing this life, losing this reality. So therefore, we have this attachment to life and this anxiety of losing. So that happened for everybody. So fear of death, you don't have to be afraid of death when you are old and when the pandemic is there. No, you are all the time underlining, you are all the time afraid of losing this personality, this life, all those things that you are attached to. How can you overcome this fear of death and no peace? That's a good question. It's a question that we need to face, everyone, because if you don't face it, then you know, you will suffer from it. So the spiritual life is the life of detachment, the practice of renunciation is one of the way. Instead of attachment is the practice of detachment. Yeah, instead of attaching to those things that you have and thinking that it will last forever and be worrying that you lose it, is the spiritual approach to detach and to renounce. If you detach and you renounce, then you go to the root cause of the fear of death, which is the clinging to life and the manifestation of this basic spiritual ignorance to believe that we are something that we are not. So the whole spiritual life or spiritual practices, all these 4 paths of yoga is helping you to deal with this one unique major question. What is life and what is death? And how do I find peace? Okay. Very funny. When I was meditating, just beginning, I believe that it is in the first 6 months of my meditation yoga life. Then one day, I don't know exactly what happened, but I meditated under guidance of a Swami in a mantra center. Then all of a sudden, I come out of that meditation and I declare to everybody, I'm not afraid of death anymore. Okay? Because once you get in touch with something that is feel very real and very true, yeah, then it contrasts with everything else about your life that is all the time dual, yeah. So then you become very certain that this space of peace and salvation is true, and you can get there. It happened in the beginning of my journey. That's why it's reinforcing already a feeling within that in order for you to be free from fear of death, you have to re-question what is life and what is death. And you have to have the meaning, you have to be quite convinced of the meaning of life, so you can choose your life, you know, to be free from that duality of fear and death. You have to choose a spiritual life. Basically, you have to understand that you are the immortal Atman, then you'll be free from that fear. Okay, so you guys, ask very serious question. Oh my God. Is there any other question?
One more serious question, Swamiji.
Okay.
Sankaracharya says the universe is an appearance. It's easy for us to just call something Maya. What are the necessary qualifications to truly see through the appearance? How do we know we have seen through our illusions?
Wow. That's a big question. Yeah. So I just go to the question here. The universe is an appearance. What it means, let's just say that what you see is not exactly the truth. That's all. I mean, it's changing. You can say something is Maya, so it's just a keyword just to say that, things would appear to be like this, but it's not in reality like this. It will change. Okay? But sometimes we use the word Maya, just to say that things appear to be like this, but it's not really like this. It changes, so it's not like this. So the qualifications of an aspirant are, you should learn Vedanta classes and you learn more. The first is discrimination, be able to distinguish between what is real and what is not real. Second is vairagya, means detachment. Once you know what is real, then just don't be attached to the unreal. Okay, and then qualify yourself so you can see the truth by being very calm, not emotionally up and down, by turning inward and do your self-inquiry inward, by having faith, and not be upset, by having endurance to live this life, whatever the life, the karma that you are finding yourself in, accept it, be strong, don't reject it, and don't run away from it. Have endurance, have faith that everything would be clear, and the last would be to stay balanced, and then keep seeking. So that the qualifications to qualify yourself or sincere spiritual aspirant. That means to train your mind and your outlook to be calm enough, wise enough, sharp enough, insightful enough, so you don't fall into the trap of the mind that is all the time pointing finger outside of oneself, not looking within, and emotionally easily upset. So therefore cannot be wise, cannot endure, cannot be wise. How do we know we have seen through our illusions? If you ask this question, it means that you are not through the illusions. Because if you have seen through the illusions, you know. Because if you seen through the illusions, you function out of the Atman. You no longer function out of your mind and your individual self. Therefore, if the Atman is the truth, the Atman knows everything, therefore you know, and you have no doubt. It's the inner knowing that comes from the truth within yourself. But if you still ask the question, have I seen through the illusions? You're still in the big illusion. So don't worry about this question. Just worry every day to do your practice, and your clarity, your inner clarity, your peace every day will be the answer. Okay? If you are able to be clear, peaceful every day, then you already more or less have seen through the illusion. So carry on with your sadhana and your qualification. That is the best you can. That means you always have a doubt that you have not seen through, but that also is part of it. It's the illusion of the mind to think that the mind will be able to see through everything. Not possible. It's an illusion, not possible. Yeah, and that's why it's so difficult, because you try to use the mind in order to sort through the problem that is created by the mind. It's not possible. Impossible. So therefore, you will have to surrender the mind and the ego and just humbly doing your practice every day, your prayers, that is allowed. You're allowed to pray. You're allowed to do the best you can, but you are not allowed to hold the answer. You're not allowed to say, you know, I know. Inside of you, you might know, but the moment that you say out loud, I know, that's it. You're not knowing. Because if you say it, you are saying it through the ego and the mind again. You cannot. And so that's why you have to wait. Yeah. Wait that the life will give you the answer, you know. That's, they say that the wise people, they have to wait also until they leave the body. Yeah. And they leave the body. Sometimes people, you know, praise them, and sometimes people don't praise them. You know, Jesus' life is persecuted until after he died. Not necessarily some people would agree how great he was. Some people agree how great he was, and some people do not agree. Yeah. All the saints, all the prophets is like this. Yeah. Not necessarily people, all people would agree that you are great and you are liberated. No. They test you throughout throughout your life when you're alive. And after you die, the same thing. You know, human mind continue. They continue to test you. But the wise person is the one, the liberate person is the one that seen through, that have seen through, like Jesus said, forgive them, they know not what they do. Yeah. In the beginning, he has a question, he said, God, why you have forsaken me? Yeah. Then after he realized it, immediately he said, forgive them, they know not what they do. So the same thing. Yeah. We might feel unfair, like I said, all these questions today somehow linked to each other. We might feel very absolutely unfair. I have been a good person all my life. I have done all the good things all my life. And now I've been chastised. And now I've been, you know, people tell untruth about me and nothing I can do about it. Yeah. So I have to accept. So the same thing. Are you going to be the spiritual person that overcome this appearance of ignorance? Yeah. Or you are the one that knows, but not necessarily can explain to other people, and you accept that. Hare Om Tat Sat. Okay, thank you very much for your questions. It's not easy questions, it's not easy answer. So nice to have you asking questions. So we see you next week. Yeah. So Swami Dhammananda ji, Can you please complete the satsang, please, with the prayer? So we pray. I like to pray with you with, you know, the apparent war that happened. It's not like it just happened now, it happens long time in human mind, but now the conflict become more apparent. So I like to pray for the peace of the world. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugamdim pustivananam urval kamiva bandanan mrityur mukshyamamritan. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugamdim pustivananam urval kamiva bandanan mrityur mukshyamamritan. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugamdim pustivananam urvao kamiva bandanan mrityur mukshyamamritan. Om Save Sham Swastir Bhavatu, Save Sham Santir Bhavatu, Save Sham Purnam Bhavatu, Save Sham Mangalam Bhavatu, Save Bhavantu Sukhinam, Save Santunyamayam, Save Vadrani Pashantu Makashe Dugaba Bhaven, Asato Ma Sadgamayam, Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamayam, Mrityu Ma Amritam Gamayam. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnan Purnahida Satem Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashisate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bolo Satguru Sri Sivananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Bolo Sri Vishnu Devananda Maharaj Ki Jai. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you very much. Kindly stand up for Arati.